terrifying moment. How Ukrainian forces destroyed hundreds of tanks on the Avdiivka front line. Ukrainian troops fighting from thick fortifications in the eastern sector have used massive artillery strikes backed by anti-tank missiles and drone swarms to hand the Russian army its worst battlefield defeat in 9 months, sources said on Friday. Large-scale tank and armored infantry attacks under the command of Russia's 25th Combined Arms Army launched between 100-200 armored vehicles in a two-pronged attack starting Monday, with the objective of encircling Ukrainian forces dug in around the town of Avdiivka, a coal mining community near the northern suburbs of the Russia-controlled Ukrainian city of Donetsk. Battles were still ongoing on Friday afternoon, but all Russian assaults thus far in 4 days of battles had been turned back. The Russian military, in fighting around Avdiivka, likely suffered its worst combat losses since mid-February, and by some measures, suffered one of Moscow's worst battlefield defeats of the war thus far. Official sources and independent information platforms and individual battle accounts widely agreed. The Russian attacks appeared intended to pinch off a 12-15 km wide salient held by Ukrainian troops around Avdiivka. Excepting coal mine slag heaps, the terrain is flat and open. The Armed Forces of Ukraine, AFU, leadership, has rotated troops in and out of positions around the town since the outset of the war. Currently, the horseshoe-shaped salient around Avdiivka is held by a conglomerate force of the Ukrainian Regular Army, police, border guards, and territorial defense units. Battlefield accounts and video images geolocated to multiple sectors around Avdiivka confirmed repeated attempts by Russian forces to break through Ukrainian lines by advancing in massed formations of 20-40 armored vehicles led by tanks. Repeatedly, those sources said, advancing Russian forces were halted and turned back by concentrated Ukrainian artillery strikes. Ukrainian combat brigades deployed in the Avdiivka sector reported successful defensive battles ending with Russian losses and retreats. Elements of the 53rd Motor Rifle Brigade, deployed around the village of Severna, along the southern flank of the Avdiivka salient, made public video of a Russian armored column driving northwards across tabletop flat terrain into intense shell fire. The Ukrainian unit claimed its drone observers confirmed Russian forces lost 2 armored vehicles and 100 soldiers in the one-sided battle lasting 10 minutes. No Ukrainian losses were reported. Most Kremlin-linked sources confirmed attacks around Avdiivka took place and said fighting was intense, without reporting success. A few isolated Russian military information platforms reported Kremlin forces had captured a coal mining slag heap some 150 meters tall to the northwest of Avdiivka. Control of this key high terrain would allow Russian forces to cut off Ukrainian supply into the Avdiivka salient by bombarding approach roads with artillery, those opinion makers claimed. Pro-Kremlin blogger Alexander Khodakovsky, an officer defecting from the Ukrainian military in 2014, on Oct 11 wrote, optimistically, that the slag heap was firmly in Russian hands. In the last 24 hours, we have succeeded in worsening the situation for the enemy, Ukraine, in Avdiivka, and reached lines from which we can control communications of the Ukrainian group of forces in Avdiivka. Digging in artillery would be difficult, he added. He later walked back the remarks. Ukrainian sources, both official and anecdotal, rejected Russian claims of even minor or temporary ground gains around Avdiivka. Soldiers from the 129th Territorial Defense Brigade, the Ukrainian unit responsible for holding the Avdiivka coal mine slag heap and the adjacent coking factory, in an Oct 13 public statement declared the 129th was still in its positions and that they had no plans to leave. They published images backing up what they said. Vitaly Barabash, Avdiivka mayor, in comments aired on national television on Thursday evening, said that the situation around the town was extremely tense. That over the day houses and businesses in Avdiivka had been hit at least 20 times by Russian artillery or rockets, and that explosions in the vicinity was in the hundreds. Ukrainian forces were holding their positions and would continue to do so, he said. Russian airstrikes were continuous, and in the town territory 12 bombs had hit since Wednesday, Barabash said. Volunteer recorded images showed a devastated city center and rail station, and a volunteer drone video showed Russian phosphorus shells striking Avdiivka.
Підходьте.